Hi, my name is Sonia Pena, and this is my introductory video to cultural diversity in the spring of 2021. As you can see, I work for Sublette USD 374 School District. I am currently the curriculum coordinator here and have taken on the additional role of teaching freshman English this year since we couldn't find an English teacher. So it's been a good change to kind of get back in the classroom a little bit. This is a little bit about my family. My daughter and her fiance are in the right-hand corner there. They were supposed to get married in October, but with COVID, they have postponed that until next October. They live in Kansas City. And then my son and my husband are on that piece of machinery there. I included it because my husband started his own business, rock crushing and recycling business, about 6 years ago, and it's been very successful. He's a former high school principal, so this has been a big switch for him, but he's doing great. And then I put the picture of the camper up in the corner because that's something that we really enjoy doing. He doesn't get the whole summers off anymore like he used to, and so we take lots of long weekend trips in the summer in our RV. As far as where I come from culturally or what I'm made up of culturally, I put a couple of pictures in here. My mom's family was German, and so I put a picture of a bierock in there. That was one of my grandma's favorite things to make, and when I was away at college, it was a memory that I had that's what she always sent me, and I kept in my freezer. On my dad's side of the family, they were more just European. Not really too many cultural traditions on his side. There's a lot more on my mom's side of the family. And then I married Mexican man, and he has very strong traditions in his family, and I very much enjoyed becoming part of that culture as well. And then I put a picture of the family in there just because it doesn't matter if it's my parents' side of the family, my immediate family, my husband's family. Family is very strong for all of us, and we really enjoy spending time together. And luckily, most all of us live pretty close to each other. As far as what I got from the articles, in the first article, I kind of pulled together from the author that we're all a jigsaw puzzle, and I put her 4 big ideas in the puzzle pieces. What are the questions that we have about who we are? What perspective do we take, and how do we see others, and how do they see us? Our identity, and what are the adversities that we've been through? The adversities that we've been through and struggled with and made it through are the things that make us who we are. And then how does policy affect those in our community? And she talked specifically about healthcare, but I think that it has to do with everything in our community. How are the policies affecting the people that we live close to? And that really gave me something different to think about. The second article, Haley Yates talked about the bamboo ceiling and how we may have started to overcome the glass ceiling that females struggle with, but that the bamboo ceiling for female Asian women is still there, and it's a struggle. And 2 things that she talked about were that diverse teams are very successful, that we need to start appreciating what every culture can bring to a team as you work together, and that those teams are more successful, more innovative, and make better business decisions together. And I really loved that part of being a team with all different kinds of people on it. And she said, appreciate one another, appreciate each other's strengths, and don't try to assimilate. Don't force people to become more like you. It's not worth what you're going to sacrifice. The third article, the challenges of cultural diversity. I thought that article was interesting in the area of prejudice and how we become prejudiced because of cultural insensitivity that we have in our communities, that maybe people's norms aren't exactly the same as ours are. Maybe we spend our money differently. Maybe we go to church in different places. Maybe we talk differently. We have different belief systems. And those norms tend to separate us in our communities. And then also there's the verbal and nonverbal cues that we give off to people. And if they don't know something about our culture, that can be offensive to people. And then I loved the 3 definitions of, or the problem words that come into prejudice: xenophobia, racism, and ethnocentrism. All of them have a hand in believing that there's a superior culture or a superior way to be, and you're kind of trying to, if you're on the outside, become part of the inside, and if you're on the inside, you're judging those that are on the outside. And that really isn't the way it should be. The last thing was the big research article that we read on engaging diverse communities. I loved that they have actually come up with a platform on how to get people more involved in their own communities. And I realized that a lot of what was said in this article had to do more with big communities, because as I started to think about it for my own community, which is a very small rural community, a lot of these things seem hard to incorporate. But I think for big communities where there's neighborhoods of different cultures, I think that everything that they put into this is awesome. I love the idea of a ladder with different rungs in it. But as I started to come out with the big ideas and I thought I would put each one in one of those rungs, there was too many big ideas in the article. So I took the ones that I thought would make an impact, which would be to get to know the people in your community. Think about them as assets to the community, as a good thing, and what can you learn from them to make that community stronger and make that community a place that they're proud of and that they want to live in. And to do that, you've got to find community partners that will then have a snowball effect in getting more and more people involved. You need to inform the community of what you're doing, try and involve them as much as you can, collaborate with them, empower them, and then overcome barriers that make it so they can't be part of the planning process. Things like providing daycare, food, transportation, all of those kinds of things that inhibit people from not being part of a community engaged activity. So as I looked back at these 4 things that we were assigned to read or to view, and looked at the commonalities to my community, I live in a small rural community, like I said, and it looks to me, even in the school and within the town, that we're about a third German Mennonite, about a third Hispanic, and a third white. And our white community is a much older community and very conservative. And our German Mennonites are really starting to take ownership in houses in the community, in businesses in our community. And we really wouldn't be the community that we are without them starting all the businesses that they have. And then we've had a strong Mexican or Hispanic community for many, many years. And so I don't know that I see them all collaborating on things, but they have a lot of strengths within their own community. As far as how I can bring some of this information into my school, there were really 2 big ideas that I got out of what we read and watched. The 2 things that stuck out to me were, of course, to appreciate different cultures and bring them together in teams instead of making them assimilate, and what we can do to get our community involved in rebuilding areas that they live in. So in my school, I think that we need to work more on encouraging diverse teams. And I also feel like we're kind of a leader in the community where we are where the biggest population of people occur, and so maybe we need to push out what we're doing at school into our community a little bit better. And we really need to work on planning for our community. Even as far as where people live here, we have an area just outside of town where all the German Mennonites tend to live, and they stay in their own population. And I think that would be something that would be a great conversation to have in our district. Correlations. So the standard was that we understand and demonstrate and advocate for an inclusive school culture. I believe that this assignment helped me to see some new ways to use data and research in advocating for inclusion in our schools. Relevancy. This was relevant to my learning because there is new research out there about the effectiveness of being diverse in the workplace. This is where our students start in school, and I really like that we can start encouraging that in school, and then they can take that out into the workplace. The assignment reminded me that we aren't doing much to appreciate the culture in our community. We all seem to exist in our own smaller communities, and I feel like it stays that way because of our older population not really being open to change. You hear a lot of, well, we've always done it that way. In reflecting on this, I realized that as a school leader, I may need to be the one that fills the gaps in getting our community a little bit more involved. Ignoring something doesn't make it go away, and we can't just keep doing something because that's the way we've always done it. Change starts at the top, and if I'm going to be an administrator, I need to be willing to put that on my shoulders. As our KISA coordinator, I have pointed out that our school board needs to be more representative of our community. It has been all white men for years. Within the last 2 years, we've gotten 2 German Mennonite gentlemen on there and 1 Hispanic. We still don't have any women on there. So we've got a little bit of work to do. Returning to the classroom has made me see how swayed our families are. We need to listen to their concerns and see how we can learn from them, just like they are trying to learn from us. And this is my bibliography. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to the class.